Hello, this is Trista Emmer at the Thesis Office, and I'm going to show you today how to use the word template. Now, this instruction is meant to accompany the other videos I've put up about finding and deleting pages, the tools you're going to want to use when you use the template, and various other tricks. But today I'm just going to go over the basics of how to use the template. Now, the first thing we have is we have our title page. I don't really want you to delete this line. I just want you to type in it because we want to preserve this space here. So we're going to just type in a title. And delete the text. We preserve this space. You're going to choose your item and your month. These are the only months available based on the semester you're in, the semester you graduate. So I'm graduating spring of 2026 here. And you'll also choose the year. Remove the highlighting when you do. I go over how to find and delete these pages. You'll delete the one that you don't need. Leave the date approved just like this. You will get those dates after you submit it to us for graduation. They are the dates that your committee signs our electronic forms. So you won't know those until after you've submitted. Type in their full official name that is reflected in your CIS graduate progress record. Don't use any honorifics or anything, just the name as it appears. And here we go with the abstract. You shouldn't need to change this. You'll know that this is main headings. Everything that is all caps is called a main heading, and it uses main heading styles. Here you'll also see that in order to create the illusion of the 2-inch top margin that we want on main heading pages, I have a blank line up here. It is styled top margin. So each one of these pages is currently set up with a blank line styled top margin and your main heading. If you lose that blank line for some reason, you could just put another blank line in there and style it top margin, and you'll be back at the right space. The text you'll notice is thesis normal. I want you to style all the body text in the manuscript thesis normal, and I'll show you why as we get a little further along. So here's the table of contents, and the table of contents updates. It's an updatable field, so it is going to pull in everything that is styled main heading and everything that is styled a first level subheading, because those are the only things we want in the table of contents. And you'll be able to update it by, you get to right click into the table of contents and say update field. When you've got most of your subheadings in already, it'll say, it gives you the option of update page numbers only or update entire table. So page numbers only does exactly what it says. It's the page numbers only. It's just going to go through and check and update any page numbers just in case any of these have moved. If you are still adding subheadings or you've changed subheadings, maybe you've gone through and fixed their capitalization or anything, if you say update entire table, it will pull everything back in. It will recompile the table. So when you do this, you'll notice a few things changed. One is that we want the word chapters above these lines. If you're calling your sections chapters, you don't have to. But if you are, you're just going to put your cursor in front of the first chapter, hit enter to create a space, and retype chapters. Just like that, only the C capitalized. You'll also know it went away our word appendices that we want here. If you have multiple appendixes, then you'll write appendices here. Now, there are a few other adjustments you might want to make. We don't want the titles of the subheadings to go into our number column. So you'll have to make an adjustment about that by using hold shift and hit enter to create a soft return. I think I've got one of those on the tables page, so we'll look at that. And so you would make any adjustments there. Now, I don't recommend you making these final adjustments until you're ready to turn your manuscript in, because as you're pulling in your subheadings, you know, as you're updating this table and updating the entire table as your subheadings are coming in, you don't want to have to redo that work every time. So just hold on to this and just do this very last. Yes, you can see right here with the list of figures, we've got a caption that goes to large. Now the list of figures comes in, it pulls in our figure caption style right up here. You can see all of the figure captions have this style applied to them, and so the list of figures pulls them in for you. Works just like the table of contents. We can come here and say, we're right clicking in here and we're going to say update field. Where is it? We can also come up here to references and say update table, update page numbers only, changes nothing, update table, and update entire table is going to flip it back to where it was before. And you'll notice that the word as comes into our number column. So we're just going to hold shift, hit enter, and we'll get that nice soft return that does not change any of our spacing and just moves that word out of the number column. So that is something you will also do last. And you can see I have a comment there that will remind you. The comments will tell you how to use the template, so make sure you read them. So we're moving through. The list of tables works exactly the way the list of figures does, but it pulls in the table title style right here. So all of your tables will have their table titles will have this applied, and it will pull them into the list of tables for you. Now here we are. We have finally made it to our first chapter. And you're going to know something strange, which is that there is this little mark. It looks like the end of the paragraph mark right here. It's in the middle of the line in the template. This is called a style separator. And you can see there is a comment talking about it right there. But what it does is it tells Word that everything on the left side is completely different than anything on the right side. And you can see over here in the styles pane, the styles changes. This one is main headings because it has our one, and with the soft returns, it applies to the chapter title. You can see over here in the navigation pane, we just have the one and chapter title goes here. We don't have the word chapter. Chapter is styled as chapter heads, and if you'll recall, the table of contents only pulls in the main heading style and the first level subheading style. So it doesn't pull in the style chapter heads. Since these are, Word knows that these are different, it leaves the word chapter out, which is what we want because we don't want the word chapter in front of this 1, 2, 3. We don't want the word chapter there. Now, if you lose the style separator, it's okay. It's just going to add the word chapter to your entry in the table of contents, and all you have to do is delete it. They are all also copy pastable. So if you lose one for one chapter, you can just come up to one of these other chapters and copy the title with the style separator in it and paste it onto that other chapter and move forward, and you're good to go. Now you'll notice here that we've got our body text. Again, it's styled thesis normal. What we have going on here is we have a heading space. This is the heading space, and the heading spaces need to come between body text and subheadings. You'll notice they don't come between every subheading. If the subheadings are consecutive, there is no heading space between them. Otherwise, all of these freestanding subheadings need to have a heading space above them, between them and anything that is not them generally. I have solved this problem by styling the thesis normal style is styled so that it creates, if we look at our paragraph settings, it adds the 28-point heading style automatically to the space between everything that is it and not it. You'll notice it has the don't add space between paragraphs of the same style box checked. That keeps it from adding that space between each paragraph. So this is what we want going on here. The thesis normal will add that heading space if there's anything other than thesis normal coming next, and it's usually your subheadings. So I'm going to show you what these look like when they are not styled with the heading style. So let's say you copy and paste into the text, into our template, they come in, they're looking like normal text. So this is one of the ways that this template works really well is you're coming in, you're copying in and from a different document. And it might look like this, and you'll notice now these are all normal. But all we have to do is select our subheading, come up here, first level subheads, move it over. Here's the second level, third, and so on. Now, if you don't like the look of these, if you would rather, say, start with the bold center, that's great. You can. The problem is that you need to make this first level subheading look that way. You don't want to use the second level subheading style because then it won't come into the table of contents. So you can change any of these styles, the way they look. You can just change it. So we're going to say, okay, I want my first level subheading to be bold without the underline. So I'm just going to make it look the way I want it to look. And then I'm going to come here to the styles pane and I'm going to push the little down arrow and I'm going to say update first level subheads to match selection. And now everywhere we've got our first level subheadings, it changes and it looks exactly the way we wanted it to look. Now, if you're going to do that and you have lower level subheadings, you can't repeat this. So you have to drop lower in the list. You always have to move down lower. So if you want this one to look like this one, we're just going to, again, make it look the way we want it to look. You can come over here, or another option is to come up here into the panes. You'll see it's saying that it's heading 3, that's the second level subheads. If you right click on that, it will allow you to fix it. Because I've got my styles pane open, it won't let me do it here. If you've got it closed though, let me close it. You can say update second levels to match what I've got done. So this is how you would change the way it looks. You always want to make sure that your first level subheads are using your first level subheading style so they go into the table of contents. And then we're coming down here and I did this as normal, but we want to make this thesis normal. Let's see, if I made this normal, you would see it takes the space away. So when you're copying and pasting in, or you're just typing, you just want to be in here and you want to click thesis normal and get yourself that space back. Now here you can't really tell because we don't have headings coming next. We have numbered lists. So there's a special thing you need to do when you have a numbered list. And the one thing I will show you is we've got thesis normal going on here. And we have this one is also thesis normal. I had already adjusted it so you didn't see what was going on. But what's going on here is because this is our number list style. So I created the number list. I used the number list style to make it look uniform everywhere in the manuscript, but now I have this space. So you'll recall that the thesis normal style creates this heading space between everything that is it and not it. When we have something that is coming that is not a subheading, we need to remove this space here because we don't want it. So this is pretty easy to do. You just come up here into where you make your lines single or double spaced. You're going to come here and you're going to say remove space after paragraph, and it just takes it away super easy. We have the same thing going on here with our block quote. You can see, let me make all of this regular text, what it might be coming in as normal text. So then you are following directions. So you style this thesis normal. And now you've got this space here because they're not thesis normal yet. we're going to come here, we're going to apply our block quote style, and we still have this space. So we just come up here, remove the space, and now it looks the way it needs to look. Now when we come from a block quote to a subheading, we no longer have the block quote adding the space automatically for us. That style doesn't do that. So you need to come up here, and in order to fix it, let me make this, I'm just going to reapply the style, and it takes it away. And so we're going to come into the paragraph settings. You can find them here at line spacing options. And I've already got it set to add 14 points, which is the illusion of a double space. So this is 12-point font. So we need to add the extra 2 points that Word adds just to make it so the letters aren't touching each other from the lines. So we're always, when we're trying to make spaces that fit on the page with our spacing, we're working in groups of 14. So we've got 14 points there, but you'll recall that the heading space is 28 points. So I need to add 14 to 28. I need to add those together. And it is 42 points. We're doing that because it's a single space line. So we come in, and now we have our heading space. Now this is a little tricky, but it is not super common for block quotes to go immediately into a heading, a subheading. So, you know, I built it for the ordinary, not for the extraordinary. So you just have to do that. And you'll notice that right here I have the text about that. So the text inside the template will also remind you of how to use the template. I made a video already on how to center equations. You can see it right here, so I'm not going to go over that. I am going to talk about this though. You'll notice I have comments about it as well. You'll notice I have a style separator there. Just like in the table of contents where we don't want the word chapter to come in front of each chapter, in the list of figures and the list of tables, we don't want the repeated word figure and table. You'll notice here I don't have it there. It's not there. And so if it pops up into the list, you have to delete it. But the style separator will keep it from doing that. So currently you'll notice I've got this styled fig table leads. That is for that word figure or that word table. It's got the correct spacing. Then here we've got our fig captions with the one and the whole sentence. One whole sentence should describe what your figure is. If your figure has parts, then you move into the description of the parts down here in figure descriptive text. And this also has the correct spacing for this description. And this would be where you go in and you add any additional description or you describe your parts going on in there. Doing this will create your list of figures perfectly. And you can see this is what's going to show up in the list of figures. When you look at this, this is what you're going to see showing up there. Grab this again and shrink it up. Same for the table. We've got our fig table leads here. We've got our table title style here. It creates this nice double space between it and any explanatory text or between it and the table. And then if you need descriptive text for your table, not super common, but if you need it, there is a style for it that creates the required spacing. And then any text inside the table doesn't need a special style. When you're bringing it in, just use what you need to use. We don't really care what the tables look like inside as long as they are an effective way to display your data and they fit in the margins. Now, if you have a long table that needs to be split, there's a video on our YouTube channel. I also have another video that gives a different technique than the one on our YouTube channel. So you can email me for that different technique if you would like to know how to do it, because if a table needs to go onto 2 pages, you need to repeat the column heads, and then you need to put a continuation notice at the top of the table. And that can feel really tricky to do, but we have videos about it. Feel free to email me and get a link of it. And then we have an example of a landscape page here. Another thing I want to point out is that these section breaks are what are controlling your page numbers. The page numbers move with the section break. So if you replace a section break that's supposed to be there with a page break, your page numbers get messed up. So, you know, this is pretty explanatory, because you have to have a section break in order to make a landscape page. But moving from chapter to chapter, the section break becomes pretty important. You notice here I do have a footnote text style to create the correct spacing for the footnotes, and I have a video on how to edit footnotes that you can go see if you're having problems with your footnotes. This is an example of locally numbered first level subheadings and subheadings moving down the list. If you're locally numbering one chapter, you need to local number all of the chapters. And if you're locally numbering one subheading, you need to local number all of them. So we're looking for consistency here. But you'll notice we don't have any page numbers in this top corner there should be no page numbers appearing on any of the main heading pages. But sometimes the section break gets lost and gets replaced with a page break. So we have no page break here. We have no section break here anymore. And you have placed a page break. This is a really common thing to do, but now you'll notice that there's a page number that has popped up on this page, and we've got our extra space here. So we need to fix this. The easiest way to fix this is to replace the page break with the section break that should be there. Next page section break. Now I have it up here in my bar, the breaks, but you can also find it here under layout breaks, and that's where the next page section break is. That's probably where you're going to find it. I don't think that any of you are customizing your toolbars. But so we put our section break in here, and then our page number is gone for there. Now sometimes the page numbers can start over again. So I'm going to put a page break here to move us to the next page, and there's a 10 there, so it did not start over. That's great, but sometimes if they start over at 1 when you go to replace the missing section break. A really easy way how you fix that is you come into the page numbers and you just format page numbers. And other than the first page of chapter 1, which should start at 1, you will always have continue from previous section up here. So if your page numbers start over, that's what you're going to do to fix it. I'm going to go ahead and remove that page break now. And we're going over through here. I gave 5 chapters because standard is 5 chapters. But when I say standard is 5 chapters, that doesn't mean you have to have 5 chapters. We don't care about the number of chapters. All we care about is, did you lay them out correctly? And like I said, these are copy pastable. So if you have 6, 7, 8 chapters, you can just copy and paste this and put it at the top of your additional chapters, and you're just going to want to make sure that you have the section break between the chapters as you move through for those page numbers. And I give you explanatory text. Now here, this is an appendix for a standard appendix. This would be if you've just got material that can start on a regular page. And you just do it this way. It looks just like the chapter titles, and you just start your material here. If you have the kind of material that needs to start on its own page, say it's images or a computer program or something like that, then you use part title pages where the title is in the middle, it is vertically centered, and then your text and your material starts here. Now, the way I've done vertical centering on this is in the page layout, and I have the same thing going on in the preliminary pages. So because we've got our section breaks, we've got a section break there, a section break there, I want to make this vertical. You just come to layout. I'm going to click this out button. It's going to pull this up. And when I go to layout, you can see vertical alignment center. Most of the time it will be top. All of your regular text will be top. That's why everything's starting at the top. So we go there, but I like these things centered. It makes it nice and perfectly centered rather than trying to hit the space bar or hit your enter key and create blank lines to try to get it centered. If you do a part title page for one appendix, you have to do it for them all, so keep that in mind. Now you'll also notice that because I have vertical centering going on here, I have to have a section break so that all of the pages aren't vertically centered. And what that's going to do is that it ends up creating another section. So I need to do something about these page numbers. So what I have to do is I have to change the settings of the page numbers. Currently, if you'll notice up here, I've got different first page selected. On this page, I do not. I took off the different first page and I have my page number inserted there because we want it to go ahead and start there, and we don't need the pages of this section done differently because there's a page number on the first page of this section. These are set to have their page numbers set differently because the first page of the section should not have a page number. So we say it's a different section, it's a different first page, and then we insert the page number on the second page. If you're moving forward using this template, it should do that for you automatically, but we do have a video on our YouTube channel about how to fix page number issues on first pages of chapters, and that will help you. We have finally hit the references, and one of the mistakes I see people using the template is that they don't use the reference style going on. We need our lines to be single spaced with the double space between, and a lot of you are using reference management software, so the field that it's going to put here and populate will have its own style coming in. And this is just super simple. You just select all of your text and hit references. So let's say you're coming in and it's normal. You're copying and pasting it from somewhere, or the reference management software is filling in their field and it looks wrong. Easy. Select references. Done. Now, if you're using a reference style that does not have the hanging indent, let's say it's a numbered style, coming up here to our top thing, and we want it to look like this now. It's a numbered style, there's no hanging indent, there's no first line indent, looks just like this. We've made it just like the headings, we've made it look the way we want it to look, and we just come down to references, and we're going to update references to match selection, and now all of them are the right way to look. They all have the correct indent going on, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. When that field populates or when you copy and paste more references in, just select and click the style and it fixes the spacing for you. So this is your quick guide to using the template, and it has been designed so that you can copy and paste into this from other documents just by simply pasting and then selecting what you've pasted in and applying the correct styles, and everything works out perfectly for you. Don't not use the styles. They make it all work. The template is only as good as your adherence to applying the correct styles. If you don't apply them, the spacing doesn't work out, the headings aren't correct, the table of contents doesn't work, the list of figures, the list of tables, they don't work. And you will be pretty frustrated because you're using the template and it's not working for you. Hopefully those of you who watched this video all the way through are committed to using the template and using it correctly. Keep an eye on our YouTube channel, like and subscribe so that you can see when we've put up new videos. As I move through, I'm going to be doing closer looks at some of the issues that can show up in the template and some of the ways to fix them. So keep your eye out on videos like that if I haven't already posted them. And thank you for watching this video. Good luck using the template.